Are your thoughts truly your own, or are they echoes of someone else's will? This question isn't just dramatic, it's dangerous, because the moment you ask it, you begin to see the strings, subtle, invisible, and deeply embedded. Most people believe they are free thinkers guided by logic, reason, and choice, but what if I told you that your very preferences, desires, fears, and dreams have been shaped, layer by layer, not by your will, but by others? Governments, corporations, parents, teachers, advertisements, trauma, and deeper still, your own subconscious. You are not just manipulated from the outside. You are manipulated from within. This is not conspiracy. This is not paranoia. This is psychology. And beyond that, it is spiritual warfare, not fought with weapons, but with ideas. Welcome to the inner matrix, where the subconscious mind, long ignored, silently dictates your reality, and where the key to influence, real conscious and ethical influence, awaits. Let us begin. Manipulation is not loud. It is not aggressive. It whispers, it suggests. It is the art of shaping thought without detection, and it begins with framing, the way an idea is presented to you before you even realize a choice was made. A simple shift in words, and your perception tilts, a tone of voice, a color scheme, a glance, and suddenly you're persuaded. Pavlov knew this. Condition the dog, ring. The bell and the saliva flows. Now replace the bell with social media notifications. Replace the dog with your attention span. Advertising giants know this. Politicians know this. Even your well-meaning parents and friends use it. Not always with malice, but with effectiveness. At its core, manipulation is the shaping of identity. Once you accept a label, good student, bad child, pretty, ugly, poor, successful, you begin to act in alignment with it. And that's the trick. Identity becomes a prison, one you walk into yourself. Throughout history, the wisest and the darkest, minds have used this knowledge. Religious empires manipulated belief systems to command devotion. Kings manipulated symbols, crowns, thrones, divine right, to manufacture awe. Dictators manipulated fear. Cult leaders manipulated love. But the tools haven't changed, only the delivery system. Now your identity is mined through algorithms. Your preferences are nudged through endless feeds. You're being trained just like Pavlov's dogs, except the leash is invisible. If manipulation is the virus, then the subconscious is the operating system it infects. You see, the subconscious doesn't think, it obeys. It stores every experience you've ever had, especially the painful, the repetitive, and the unresolved. It is here, in the shadowy depths of memory, that beliefs are formed, not through logic, but through emotion, through repetition, through trauma. And once a belief is formed, I'm not good enough, thy people can't be trusted, I'll always fail, your subconscious will do everything in its power to make it true. It doesn't care if it's helpful, it only cares if it's familiar. Carl Jung called this the shadow self, the part of us that is repressed, denied, and disowned. It is this shadow that attracts manipulation like a magnet, because when you don't know your inner wounds, others can use them against you. Ancient mystics called this veil Maya, the illusion that clouds the pure light of awareness. Modern psychology calls it conditioning. But whatever the name, the effect is the same. You are not reacting to life. You are reacting to your programming, and until you face this, until you uncover the code, you will remain manipulable. But here's the twist. Manipulation isn't always dark. Influence is inevitable. To exist is to influence. Your smile can uplift. Your anger can intimidate. Your words, your silence, your presence, they all ripple outward. The question is not, how do I avoid influence? The real question is, how do I influence consciously? And how do I choose what I allow to shape me? Even science affirms this. Mirror neurons in your brain light up when you observe another's actions. This is empathy, this is mimicry, this is evolution. In spiritual traditions, they speak of the collective mind, the interconnectedness of all thought. Your mental state influences the field. So stop running from influence. Begin owning it. You are always a participant in this symphony. The only difference is, are you playing the instrument or are you being played? And now the descent begins. If your subconscious is programmed, it can also be deprogrammed, but not by adding more noise. Not by hacking your way with tricks or routines. Deprogramming begins with silence, with brutal honesty, with the question, who am I, underneath all these layers? Ramana Maharshi posed the question again and again. Who am I? Not to get an answer, but to strip away every false one, not your name, not your profession, not your past. What remains when all identity is burned? You begin this process by observing. Observe your thoughts, not as truth, but as habit. Observe your reactions, not as you, but as patterns. Observe your inner voice, not as a guide, but as a recording. Sit with discomfort. Feel your emotions without a story. Write down your beliefs and ask, who gave this to me? Was it ever mine? Let your dreams speak. Let silence teach. This is not self-help. This is self-unveiling. The moment you start seeing your own code, you begin to rewrite it. And with that clarity, manipulation loses its grip. Now you stand in power. Not the power to control others, but the power to walk in truth. Real influence doesn't come from trickery. It comes from alignment. When you speak from clarity, people listen. When you radiate calm, others follow. When your actions match your words, your influence becomes magnetic. The great teachers knew this. Socrates asked questions that unraveled ignorance. Buddha said nothing, yet his silence transformed millions. Christ spoke in parables, stories that bypassed logic and awakened something deeper. To influence consciously, you don't impose, you reveal. You don't push, you invite. Use stories, metaphors, and presence. Speak from your center, not your ego. Because when you influence with awareness, you uplift, not manipulate, and in that moment, you become a lighthouse in a fog of confusion. But now we turn the mirror fully inward. You've been manipulated, yes. You've also learned how to influence. Good. But here's the paradox. No one tells you. You are the biggest manipulator in your life. Every time you justify staying stuck, every time you replay a victim story, every time you lie to yourself to avoid growth, that's manipulation. The ego is a master manipulator. It will flatter you, scare you, and distract you, just to avoid annihilation. And the most dangerous manipulators is the one you don't recognize. This isn't cause for guilt. It's a moment of liberation, because once you see the inner game, you can play it differently. You can tell yourself better stories. You can create new identities, ones rooted in freedom, not fear. You can become the conscious director of your inner dialogue, and that is true influence. So now I ask again, who is behind your thoughts? Not the surface answer, not the role you've played, but the watcher, the silent presence beneath it all. If you peel back every belief, every habit, every memory, what remains? That presence is untouched. That awareness is unmanipulated. That stillness is you. And from that place you begin again, not as a pawn, not as a puppet, but as a creator. Because the greatest influence you will ever have is not over others. It is over the story you choose to live. Most people live under a quiet illusion. They believe they are in control of their thoughts, their choices, their beliefs. But what if I told you you're not? What if the voice inside your head isn't even yours? Every day you're bombarded with suggestions through language, media, culture, and repetition. And those suggestions, they don't just pass through you, they become you. From the moment you were born, your subconscious mind has been recording. It remembers every word that shaped your self-image, every tone of voice that made you shrink, every rule you were never allowed to question. This is the quiet power of manipulation. It doesn't scream, it whispers. You defend your beliefs, but you never chose them. You chase desires, but you never asked where they came from. You repeat the same mistakes, thinking they're yours, but they're someone else's fingerprints. This is not just psychological, it's spiritual, because until you wake up to what's running your mind, you are not living, you are being lived. To understand manipulation, you must first understand the architecture of your mind. Imagine your brain like a castle. The conscious mind is the throne room, the part that thinks it rules. But below it, in the hidden chambers, lies the subconscious, silent, ancient, and powerful. It controls over 95% of your life. The subconscious doesn't speak in logic. It speaks in emotion. It remembers through pain. It learns through repetition. From the earliest years, it's programmed by your parents, your teachers, your culture, and your trauma. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the unseen side of yourself that stores everything you've rejected, denied, or forgotten. But here's the truth. Your shadow is still active. It still drives your behavior, your